What is the best thing about a gang that makes you feel warm inside? When I was a teenager, I used to work part-time at a tiny diner in a rough part of town. It wasn't uncommon for fights to break out or for people to skip out on their bills. One evening, as I was working the late shift, a group of gang members walked in. They were loud, intimidating, and clearly trying to make their presence known. My stomach dropped as I prepared for the worst. They sat at a booth, ordering food and joking loudly among themselves. One of them, the leader, called me over. "You new here?" he asked gruffly. I nodded, trying to hide my trembling hands. He smirked but didn't say much else. About halfway through their meal, an older man entered the diner. He was a regular named Mr. Jenkins, an elderly man who lived alone and always ordered the same cheap meal, a bowl of soup and a slice of bread. That night, however, he looked more frail than usual. When Mr. Jenkins reached into his pocket to pay, he realized he didn't have enough money. Embarrassed, he started apologizing profusely to the cashier, saying he'd come back tomorrow to settle the bill. Before anyone could respond, the leader of the gang stood up. "Put it on my tab," he said firmly, tossing a $50 bill onto the counter. Everyone froze. Even Mr. Jenkins looked shocked. The leader walked over, gently patted the old man on the back and said, "Eat as much as you want, old-timer. You remind me of my grandpa." The diner was silent for a moment, and then Mr. Jenkins quietly thanked him. The gang leader just nodded and returned to his booth like nothing happened. When they finished their meal, the group left a stack of cash on the table as a tip, more than I made in a week. Before they left, the leader looked back at me and said, "You're safe here, kid. No one's messing with this place." From that day on, I realized that even in the darkest corners, there's a glimmer of humanity. Sometimes, it comes from the most unexpected people.